I'm
that
pretty sure the
actually.
Jaguars got pounded in like London today by the Bears.
I'll never bet an overseas game just because of the
Oh,
the variable of the travel. Would you? I mean,
no. I don't know if these guys are used to smoking hash.
right. What city? What was it? Germany? Where was
No,
the?
I was fucking London.
Was it London?
We
The
scored
story.
that. We scored. I think we
Thick
scored
hash.
the hash in Germany, but we didn't smoke it till we were in London. That's one of my God. It was such a when we were smoking and we were getting ready to smoke in that fucking alleyway, and those that Bobby came around that corner.
And this is the one that it disappeared somehow.
Fucking Scott
Scott.
brushed it off. With
This is it. Tell the story.
all
I
right,
have something ready.
we scored some hash, and we went into like a little uh fuck. I didn't know you were leaving me.
I'm here. I have headphones on. I could hear
All
the
right.
story.
Uh, we went into like a little tobacco shop and got a pipe with a screen in it. So so it would at least kind of look like we might be smoking Bork and Riff. And so you gotta, if you've ever seen hash comes and it looks like it's like a almost like this. It's like a pencil. It's kind of like this, and we had like Lebanese blonde. So you have to take a lighter, and you have to light the end of it, and it'll catch on fire. And then you blow it out, and then you take it and you crumble it, and then the crumblings are what you put in the fucking pipe to smoke. So we're getting ready to like Scott's burning it, and he's setting it. And we're just gonna push it in the pipe now. About that time, a Bobby came around the corner. He goes, "What are you fucking doing there? You fucking pissing?" Because Scott immediately, when he saw, like peripherally saw him, turned and act like he was zipping his pants up. And so now the cop's coming over, and as he's coming over, he's coming right to Scott. So he walks by me, and this is fucking 94 maybe.
Mm.
And this is before the world was like, had cameras everywhere. And I'm thinking like, fuck man, like if he grabs Scott, because Scott's got the rest of the shit in his pocket. If he grabs Scott, like I guess I'm gonna have to clip this fucker. Like like, and I
Kev.
mean I'm looking like right at I'm looking at like his C123, like where I'm gonna fucking like I'm gonna drill him in his fucking cervical.
And we don't advocate
No,
the assault on law enforcement.
because if
We
I would
had
have
nothing
had
to
a,
do with January 6th.
if we would have been smart enough to like stopped and picked up 3 apples and had them in a plastic bag, I could have dropped those apples and had that bag over that son of a bitch's head in no time. I mean, boom, out he goes. But the guy just kind of just looked at us and he said, "Fuck off," and told us. So we did this. Oh fuck. So we went back to and we were staying at there was a Holiday Inn in like Kensington area, and we just went out to the park and sat and smoked. We smoked out there and came back in, but it was just like,
I remember that one of you guys, or maybe all of you guys, told me this on one of the kayfabe shows, and it was one of the one of the
yeah.
better stories.
The,
Well,
the best one is though we went to Royal Albert Hall, and so was the first time we smoked in London on this trip, and I kept telling them, man, wait, wait, wait. And they wanted to smoke that day when we got into London, and there was a 3-story like fitness place we used to train at back then. But man, the bo in this place was so fucking pungent. I mean, fuck, it was such a oh.
really,
I mean, Scott used to say used to use the term beefing
beefing.
because it smelled like fucking hot dog water.
Mm.
The whole gym smelled like they washed it down in hot dog water. So you'd walk in there and fucking gag. And so we got our, we got our workout and we came back. We're like, let's smoke before we go to the arena. And I said, nah, man. I said, I just got a feeling they're going to piss us. We walked in and there were the fucking white coats. We are like,
Wow.
so we all fucking ran over there, got in line and pissed. And then we,
Proudly pissed.
like fucking champs. And we had waited with this hash for like, fuck, we'd had it like 6 days. And, but that's how fucking stringent this test was. It wasn't a fucking joke.
Yeah.
And it was like a $1,500 fine, and then you were like fucking suspended after 2 or 3. I forget what it was, but I know that like $1,500 back then, and you're working fucking Royal Albert Hall for free.
Yeah.
So if you're on the top of the card,
how do you manage, Kevin, and I'm sure this is the question I asked you and Scott and Sean on the kayfabe DVDs. How do you, when you're in another country, line up extracurricular
Smoke?
activities? Anything.
Well, Scott, I lived in Germany. Scott went to high school in Germany. So Scott and I both know you just go to a fucking train station and find a Rasta and fucking just buy it right there. But we actually found there was some guys that were setting up. Where were we at? I think we were in. We did a couple of shows in Germany, but I think Scott talked to the guy in Hamburg. I think we got it in Hamburg, and we still had like several shots, in Germany, and then we didn't take a ferry either, so we must have flown, which is unusual. Usually we didn't do that, but we broke that one up and
flew to where? So you had a shot in Germany.
We had a couple. We had like Salzburg. We did Austria. We did Germany, and then we went over to the UK and finished that tour up. And usually we didn't do that. We might have got on a fucking ferry, and I don't remember it. But we ended up over and we didn't just do London. London was just the first one when we got in.
Right.
Real Albert. I don't think we did Birmingham, Sheffield. Oh God, where else? Whatever. Okay.
Wouldn't it have been great back then? Kev, I wanted to show you before you mentioned Bob Fosse. Now, my wife, of course, a woman of the theater, the musical theater, when we were, I think this was probably before we were married, I wanted to get her a cool piece of memorabilia for Christmas or birthday or something. And I didn't want like a signed poster of Fosse or whatever. So I went on the hunt and I was able to find on the Bob Fosse letterhead a rejection letter from Bob Fosse to a playwright telling him that he didn't want to produce his play, signed by Bob. You can still smell the Carlton cigarettes probably if you put your nose to it, right there with his old New York City address.
Sweet.
Yes, nice piece of memorabilia.
Very sweet.
Tucked away in a folder, buried in something on a shelf that no one has looked at in the 20 years since it was probably purchased.
It's the thought.
It is the thought.